The House of Lords has dealt the government its first serious blow over the Brexit bill, which will trigger the formal process of leaving the EU. They voted by a large majority to give European Union nationals who already live here the right to stay in the UK. The Prime Minister has so far refused to give any such assurances until British citizens on the continent get similar guarantees. The issue now goes back to the Commons, where the government will attempt to overturn the decision. Our political editor Laura Koonsberg is in the Houses of Parliament for us now. Laura.
Well, Sophie, things work rather differently down the red and gold end of Parliament here in the Lords, where the government does not have a majority. The government is not in charge. And that was made absolutely plain to ministers tonight, where in the Lords chamber just a couple of hours ago, they handsomely won the day.
They have voted contents 358, not contents 256. So the contents have it.
Wow, you can hear them say. The Lords beat the government by more than 100 votes. A bid to force ministers to say people from other EU countries can stay here, and to say so now.
It seems to me a win-win for principle, humanity, decency and honour. And I hope the House of Commons will now follow the example of the Lords and make sure that it confirms this improvement to what was otherwise a pretty dire set of legislation.
It's very arrogant to assume that your argument is the only one of principle and yours is the only moral one. Well, once people start using words like high ground, principle and moral, I think it's a load of humbug.
They voted so that nearly 3 million people like engineer Alexandrine Cantor, whether from France or Finland, Poland or Portugal, can have a guarantee they can stay in the UK after Brexit. She got the keys to her new flat here just yesterday and doesn't want to leave.
The first days after Brexit was like a feeling of heartbreak. My fear is the job I left everything for is now uncertain as well, and it's just I invest now. My life is here, and I don't want to restart. I don't want to be in danger in my home.
As we head out, the government's adamant Alexandrine and others will be able to stay, but they won't give that guarantee until the other countries in the EU are willing to do the same for Brits abroad. The clash had the Lords packed, even rowdy, peers vying to speak, with Spot the Home Secretary perched next to the gilt throne, carefully watching on.
We are bleeding the best academics from this country at the present time who are leaving one by one or are thinking about leaving because they do not see themselves having a future in this country. That is urgent. It needs to be dealt with now.
This is about the honour of this House. This is about us speaking to what people need to put their fears and their anguish at bay. And we really have a responsibility to those people.
Why is everybody here today so excited about an amendment which looks after the foreigners and not the British?
It's true.
Pass this legislation as quickly as possible to activate Article 50 and then to negotiate to give these people the rights they deserve to stay in our country.
Are you ready for defeat today, Prime Minister?
The Prime Minister is not known, though, for changing her mind, altering direction. But 7 months in, she's not used to defeat. At least not yet.
So, Laura, what impact could this have? Could it delay Brexit?
Well, Sophie, this particular issue is, of course, of huge importance to millions of people, whether they're from Poland or Portugal or France or Finland or wherever, who are living here in the UK, and also millions of Brits abroad, and not just them, but of course their friends, families, employers, husbands, wives, brothers, sisters, or whatever. But the government is relatively relaxed about this defeat tonight. Of course, they wouldn't have chosen for it to happen, but they are relatively relaxed, certainly not in panic mode, partly because they expect it to happen. They haven't been taken by surprise, but also because this is not about the Lords actually stopping the Brexit process from happening. Lords have been at pains to say they're not trying to stand in the way of the process. This is about members of the House of Lords exercising their duty of scrutiny, of testing out the government plans, objecting where they see fit, but not actually trying to chuck them out. So on this particular issue, there's a sense in Westminster here tonight that the government has has seen the Lords flex their muscles and send a clear message that they will push back as far as Brexit is concerned. But there is not a sense that the Lords are somehow in the kind of mood where they are going to be a complete roadblock to Theresa May's plans. And as such, her timetable of pushing the button on the legal process by the end of March, tonight at least, seems to still be on course.